Hi coders, welcome back to week 3 of Pine Tree Programming. We hope you've been having a wonderful time learning the basics of how to use your microbits and how to code. Today, we're going to bump things up a little bit and make it more complicated. By the end of today's lesson, you'll understand what variables, loops, and game logic are. And you'll have your very own microbit game of rock, paper, scissors. Before we get started coding, make sure that you have your materials assembled. You'll need your microbit so that you can download your code onto it at the end of the activity, and you'll need your device. Once you have those materials gathered, head over to the Microbit Microsoft website. Your teacher may have a QR code ready for you, or they may have bookmarked this for you. When your screen looks like this, you'll know you're in the right place. Let's take a look at what we're going to be doing. Once you land on the makecode.microbit.org website, you'll need to scroll down to find the rock, paper, scissors game. This is listed under Games. You'll notice there are two. We're going to start off with the first rock, paper, scissors. When you click on that, you have the option of playing the video lesson to view what you're going to be doing. And then you can head over and select your type of code. We are going to stick with block coding. When you click on that, you'll see a description of what you are going to be creating. It says, turn your microbit into a rock, paper, scissors game that you can play with your friends. A reminder that this website uses immersive reading, which means that you can hear what each of these pages says by clicking on the immersive reader icon right here. Once you've read it, you can click on OK to get started. Remember, on the left-hand side is the simulator of a microbit, so you can see how it will look on your microbit as you're working through it. Down here are the buttons that you can use to manipulate that. You can make it bigger, you can hear the sound, you can refresh, you can take a screenshot of it, and you can stop it. Across the top middle are the instructions that you'll need to follow on each page. Underneath is the toolbox, where you will find the blocks of code that you'll be working with. Next to the toolbox is your workspace. Take a look at the light bulb right here. Clicking on this will give you an idea of what your code should look like. So if you need a hint and you're stuck, be sure to click right on that light bulb. Down on the bottom, you can make your workspace bigger by clicking on Zoom In, or you can make it smaller by clicking on Zoom Out. You can also undo or redo your actions by clicking on the Undo button and Redo, rather than starting over. Once you have completed each step, you can click on Next to work through. This tutorial has a lot of steps. In fact, it has 16. So we are going to work through those together. Step 1 is creating the variable. So let's get started. The first direction says, first we need to make a variable to keep track of whether we have a rock, paper, or scissors in our hand. A variable is a container for storing values. Click on the Variables category in the toolbox. Click on the Make a Variable button. Give your new variable the name Hand and click OK. We are going to click on Variables, Make a Variable, and we are going to name this Hand. Then we are going to click on OK. There's our variable. Click on Pause to complete this step, and then start when you're ready to move on to step 3. Step 3 is starting the game on a shake. We'll follow the directions at the top, which read, click on the Variables category in the toolbox again. You'll notice that there are some new blocks that have appeared. Drag a Set Hand block into the On Shake block. We'll start our rock, paper, scissors game when we shake our microbit. So we are going to click on Variables and then drag a Set Hand block onto the On Shake block. We'll start our rock, paper, scissors game when we shake our microbit. Pause while you complete this step and then press play when you're ready for the next step. This step says, click on the Math category in the toolbox. Drag a pick random block and drop it into the set hand block, replacing the number 0. Now, when we shake our microbit, the variable hand will contain a random number between 1 and 3. So first, we're going to click on the math category and then drag a pick random block and drop it into the set hand block, replacing the number 0. You can see as I drag it closer, it picks up on it and it tells me where I need to snap that into place. Then pause your video, and when you've completed this step, press play for the next step. Now we're going to add some logic. The directions for this step read, click on the logic category in the toolbox. Drag the if true, then else block out to the workspace and drop it into the on shake block under the set hand. Now remember, if you're having trouble with this, you can always click on the light bulb after you've tried it. So following those directions, click on the logic category in the toolbox. Drag the if true, then else, which is this one. Drop it onto the on shake. So we're going to do it under the set hand block. Pause the video as you complete this step and press play when you're ready to move on. This next step, we are going to set the hand to 1. So the directions read, from the logic category, drag a 0 equals 0 comparison block and drop it into the if true, then else block, replacing true. So we're going to click on logic and drag a 0 equals 0 comparison block, and we're going to drop it into the if true, then else block right here. Pause your video while you complete that step and press play when you're ready for the next step. Now we're going to program our microbit to show a rock. For this, we're going to click on the variables category in the toolbox. Drag a hand block out and drop it into the 0 equals 0 comparison block, replacing the first 0. Click on the second 0 in the comparison block and change it to 1. So we're going to click on variables. We're going to drag a hand block and drop it into the 0 equals 0 comparison block. So there we go. And I'm going to change this to 1. Pause your video, and when you're ready for the next step, click play. So the directions read, click on the basic category in the toolbox. Drag a show icon block out and drop it under if hand equals 1. Then, in the show icon block, click on the heart icon and instead select the small square icon to represent a rock. So we coded in the last step that we were starting with the rock. So now we are going to click on basic. We're going to drag a show icon and drop it under here. And then we are going to click on the show icon. And these are our options for what will appear on the microbit. And there are several options. We're going to scroll all the way down to the bottom in the lower left-hand corner and click on diamond. Pause your video until you've completed this step and press play when you're ready for the next step. For this step, we're going to read the directions again. At the bottom of the if, then, else block, click on the plus sign. This will expand the code to an else-if clause. So we're going to click down here on this plus sign, and it's going to expand it. So else if false, then else. Pause the video, and when you're ready to continue, press play. For the next directions, it says, from the logic category, drag a 0 equals 0 comparison block and drop it into the open space next to the else if clause. So we're going to click on logic, 0 equals 0, and drop it into the open space next to the else if clause. So we're going to put it here. Pause your video and complete this step, then press play to continue. The next step says, from the variables category, drag a hand block and drop it into the 0 equals 0 comparison block, replacing the first 0. Click on the second 0 in the comparison block and change it to 2. So we'll go down to variables and click on hand. Now this is kind of catchy. So if I drag it over here, you'll notice it selects the whole thing. I want to make sure that it just catches onto that first 0. Otherwise it will throw off my entire code. So I'll drop that in here and then change this to 2. Pause the video and click on play when you're ready to move on to the next step. These directions read, from the basic category, drag a show icon block out and drop it under else if hand equals 2, then. In the show icon block, click on the heart icon and instead select the large square icon to represent paper. So we're going to click on basic, show icon, and drop it under the else if hand equals 2. So right in here. Then we're going to drop down, click on that heart icon, and look for paper. So this is all the way at the bottom, and we're going to use the square button. So it's all the way at the bottom right in the middle. So we have our rock and our paper. Pause the video, and when you've completed this step, click on play. The next step is with the last condition. So we are going to program the scissors. The directions read, now let's deal with the last condition. If our hand variable isn't holding a 1 rock or a 2 paper, then it must be 3 scissors. From the basic category, drag another show icon block out and drop it into the last opening under the else. In the show icon block, click on the heart icon and select the scissors icon. So this is the third time we're repeating this step. So we're going to head over to basic. We're going to click on show icon and we're going to put it down here. So we have our 3 conditions here. We're going to click on the heart and we are going to change it to scissors. And scissors is all the way on the bottom to the right. Pause the video, add your scissors, and then click on play when you're ready to hear the next step. Okay, so we are finally ready to test out our code in our microbit simulator. The directions read, let's test your code. Press the white shake button on the microbit on-screen simulator, or move your cursor quickly back and forth over the simulator. Or if you're using your iPad, you can use your finger back and forth over the simulator. Do you see the icons for rock, paper, and scissors randomly appear? If you do, great job. If not, go back in the steps and determine where you need to fix your code. I click on shake. So there's rock, there's scissor, there's another rock. Cool. So we have coded this correctly. The next step walks you through how to download this onto your microbit. So you are going to click on the download button and you can connect your device or you can download as a file. So if you're using a laptop, you'll want to plug your microbit in and connect the device. If you are using an iPad, you will need to connect it via Bluetooth. Once your code has been downloaded, attach your microbit to a battery pack and challenge another microbit or human to a game of rock, paper, scissors. If you want to make this even more challenging for you, try adding music blocks to your rock, paper, scissors game for different sound effects. Note that some music blocks may require a microbit V2 device to play. And if you want to make this even more challenging, we've included some additional activities in the slideshow that your teacher has. You can also return to this main page and click on the rock, paper, scissors V2. So that's going to be adding even more elements to your rock, paper, scissors game.